Hey guys, Lee Labrada here with Labrada Nutrition and Lean Body Nation. And it is my great pleasure today to have Dr. Tom Deters with us once again. This time we're going to be talking about intermittent fasting. Dr. Tom Deters is the former editor-in-chief of Muscle and Fitness magazine, publisher of Flex and Men's Fitness. He is a career CEO. He has done literally hundreds of seminars, written hundreds of articles, and has just generally helped people on all topics of fitness and wellness and nutrition. So it is my great pleasure to welcome him to our show again today. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you for having me, Lee.
It's great to have you here. So, Tom, let's talk a little bit about intermittent fasting and what the definition of intermittent fasting is. You know, it's a diet that's been out there, very popular the last couple of years, and so our viewers would like to know a little bit more about what that is and how they might actually implement it.
Sure. So let me just go big picture for a couple of seconds here, and to say that fasting is as old as man. I mean, if you weren't a very good hunter back, when civilization was first starting, you may not eat for a day or two, right? We also individually intermittently fast every single day because we sleep, right? So we get up in the morning, the first meal we eat is called breakfast, right? So everyone is doing intermittent fasting. So nowadays with, again, media hype and everything's got to be pigeonholed, and to say that I'm on an intermittent fasting diet, okay, I understand what you mean, but the fact of the matter is intermittent fasting is a way of life. Now, we can optimize that to get better health benefits and better metabolic benefits. Typically, when people say intermittent fasting in the context of something that's proactive as opposed to passive, right? You talk about a minimum of 14 hours a day without food, and or up to 24 hours. Now, beyond that, now you're talking about pure fasting, right? If you're on a 3-day fast or something like that. But intermittent fasting just means that throughout the course of the day, as a regular expression of your lifestyle, we go through periods that we choose to eat and periods that we choose not to eat. And the reason we do that are many as far as health, but primarily we want to let our gut, which is a combination of stomach and intestines, we just refer to it collectively as gut. We want to let that heal. It's a highly metabolic organ system. It's the kind of the core, the factory of our immune system. The gut is just so important. It's so delicate. And if it doesn't get a chance to rejuvenate and heal itself from everything from the metabolic stress to the mechanical abrasion, it will actually become the walls and the cells, which are held together by something in the literature called tight junctions, will actually start to leak proteins and molecules from inside the gut into the bloodstream. That's bad news because now you have molecules in the bloodstream that shouldn't be there. The body recognizes that, attacks it with an immune system response, an inflammatory response. People say, oh, I have food sensitivity to this. Well, they are sensitive because those proteins got into the bloodstream many times because of a leaky gut wall, which can absolutely and should be repaired. Intermittent fasting or more aggressive fasting is a key component of that on a daily basis to let our body heal and rejuvenate.
So what I'm hearing is that intermittent fasting, number one, is a healthy thing to do. Number two, we do it anyway because we sleep every night, and during those 8 hours, we're not eating. So we're doing a fast anyway. And so it kind of adds up because I'm aware that most people, what they do when they want to employ intermittent fasting is that they just go longer in the morning. So let's say they've slept 8 hours, they won't eat for the first 6 hours of the day. So they've had a 14-hour fast by the time that they actually break fast and start eating. And then lastly, the positive effect that intermittent fasting has on healing the lining of the gut and keeping it nice and tight so that these molecules they're not supposed to be there, don't cross the gut blood barrier and end up causing an inflammatory response in the body. Tom, if somebody wants to go on an intermittent fasting program, could you just step us through that? Okay, so let's say that they woke up and then they wait a few hours. How should they break that fast, and what should they be eating during the day?
Well, anytime, and the longer the fast that is undertaken, for instance, if somebody, just got off a 3-day fast versus a 12-hour fast, right? We want to be gentle always, that first meal, the body's waking up, enzyme systems are coming back online. So, a super large or super heavy meal is not the best way to break a fast. In fact, people tend to eat too much at one sitting in most cases anyway. And the reason I say that is because we know that nutrient absorption and stress on the gut is better or easier for the body to handle if we eat smaller, more frequent meals, as opposed to trying to eat too much at one time. Now, having said that, we can still eat, 80% of our calories, in 6 or 8 hours, right, throughout the day, as we should, to get our body the nutrition, the nutrients, and the energy sources that it needs when it needs it. I mean, that should be a key goal of any nutritional program, right? Give your body what it needs, when it needs it. Don't give it what it doesn't need, and when it doesn't need it, all right? And that's unfortunately how most Americans eat, right? They, instead of doing breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, dinner like a pauper. When I say breakfast, I mean breakfast hours, right?
Right.
Most Americans skip breakfast, grab a quick lunch, and they eat 80% of their calories with dinner or in the evening.
Total opposite.
Total opposite, right? So now you haven't, had the energy, you haven't had the repair, you haven't had all this good stuff, go on with nutritional support during the day, and now you're giving your body all these calories and all these energy sources when it doesn't really need it. It's not using it. So what's it going to do? It's going to put it into storage. So
Right.
just by changing the timing of our caloric intake without cutting calories, you're still eating the same number of calories now. You're just eating them at different times of the day when you're more metabolically active. You can absolutely lose body fat just by doing that alone. And that's another kind of supportive adjunct to the intermittent fasting. So if you got done eating at 5 or 6 in the evening, right? And you say, okay, well, I've done my 14 hours, that's 8 a.m., right? That's a 14-hour fast right there.
That's right.
But that's going to take, again, that's going to take a little bit of discipline, because most people have the habit, and when I say most people, myself included at times, I mean, it's easy to want to snack in the evening. But to get the best results, let that GI tract shut down and heal.
So intermittent fasting almost seems more of a lifestyle nutritional program. Is it appropriate for a bodybuilder or athlete that is used to eating protein every 3 hours, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So, and I've written articles on this, and gosh, back for 15 years at Muscle and Fitness, talk to guys about this, because bodybuilders, they know they have to eat. That's part of their job. In fact, I would, kind of suggest that the dietary plans and nutritional plans of being a professional bodybuilder are more demanding than the training, right? Because you have to take in these calories and you have to take in these macros. Otherwise, you're not going to support the growth that you want. Having said that, there's a companion that comes along with that, and that is food paranoia. It's like, oh my gosh, I missed a meal, I'm going to get small, right? Turns out that because of the stress that, athletes, I'm using bodybuilders as an example, but any athletes who eat a lot, they're putting their GI tract under a tremendous strain, right? They absolutely need to intermittent fast 14 to 24 hours, and the 24-hour fast can be done, every couple of weeks or 3 weeks, something like that, just to let their GI tract heal. When it does heal, they will experience better nutrient absorption. And we know that from the literature as well. So you're not going to get small if you miss a meal. You're not going to, if you do that every day, if you miss macros every day, okay, that's a different issue than letting your gut heal and become more efficient, which is really what you need as an athlete trying to optimize performance. But that's a tough sell, right? Yeah, I mean, you've both been around, bodybuilders for, the past 40 years more. And that's a really, really tough sell.
Tom, who is intermittent fasting not for?
So the couple of, and again, anybody changing their diet, and this, we're not giving medical advice here, of course. We don't know the individual. Everybody needs to look at a program and say, what are my lifestyle demands? What is my metabolic status? Am I overweight? Am I underweight? How am I exercising? If you're, training for a marathon versus, somebody who's trained to put on lean body mass. I mean, all those things have to go into our dietary program structure and strategy. So having said that, fasting in general is for most people can be a very healthy thing, but it is contraindicated, for example, type 1 diabetics, people with hypoglycemia, because there can be changes in blood sugar level that could be more than they're used to, or more than they want to tolerate, or more than would be beneficial for them. So those are the cases that stand out in terms of the benefits of the gut healing, the decreased body fat percentage, the decreased risk of some diseases, the enhancement of cognitive function. And that's one thing that we touched on in another video that we did on the keto diet, that when we go into that kind of caloric deprivation state, our brain tends to respond very positively to that with thought clarity and cognitive function. So those are some of the benefits of the intermittent fasting. I know a lot of people who have done it and they're like, yeah, I absolutely feel sharper and crisper, when I'm fasting. And there's other people, again, who were so habituated in our society to food. We just get bombarded with the entire ideology of food all the time, which, has proven to be unhealthy, right? We have an obesity epidemic in our country. But if we can, kind of shift the tide on that a little bit, and decide when we're going to eat and why we're going to eat, as opposed to just making it a conditioned response or habit, I think that could benefit a lot of people.
100%. Tom, as usual, words of wisdom. You're just a wellspring of information. So thank you for sharing your views on intermittent fasting with us today.
My pleasure, Lee.
And guys, I am Lee Labrada with Labrada Nutrition. I would encourage you to check out our Lean Body app on the Apple's iTunes store. And it's also available for Android. And sign up for our Lean Body Nation newsletter at leanbody.com. Both of those are absolutely free. We are here to help you. Thank you again, Tom. And thank you for joining us today. I'm Lee Labrada with Labrada Nutrition for the Lean Body Nation.
Great. Thanks, Lee.